Chapter 1. The Camera Wall Opening Scene. Immediate Climax. The morning began not with keyboards, but with faces. At 9 a.m. sharp, every employee's webcam switched on automatically. That was the new rule. 8 hours of surveillance, 8 hours of staring at pixelated colleagues, even if no one spoke. On Ethan Tran's monitor, a grid of 32 video feeds filled the screen. Some coworkers waved awkwardly, others just sat frozen. The new HR system flagged anyone who looked away for more than 30 seconds. It was absurd. It was invasive. It was policy. So Ethan complied. He set up his webcam carefully. Instead of himself, he positioned the lens toward his cat's bed. For the next 8 hours, management would have the pleasure of monitoring a ginger tabby licking its paws. By 10 a.m., Slack was alive. Owen's chair hasn't moved in an hour. Is he dead? Nope. He rigged his webcam with a GIF loop of himself nodding. Bridget's using a fan to keep her mouse moving. Genius. And Ethan, he posted a screenshot. 31 colleagues, 1 cat. The reactions poured in. It. At 11 o'clock, HR issued a stern message. Webcams must clearly show the employee. Pets do not count as employees. Ethan typed back. Yes, boss. Exactly. Chaos escalates. By lunch, half the feeds had turned surreal. Owen's video showed him on repeat, sipping coffee in a perfect loop. Bridget had swapped her feed with a cartoon avatar that blinked every 5 seconds. Someone even replaced their camera with a live stream of a hamster cage. Management panicked. The HR director, Miss Collins, joined the Zoom call, face red. This is not compliance. This is mockery. But Ethan leaned forward, cat in his lap, voice calm. We're following the rule, aren't we? 8 hours of camera time. The chat exploded with laughter. The policy had backfired on day 1. Chapter 2. The Rule's Origin. The Seeds of Distrust. 2 weeks earlier, before the webcams and chaos, management had a concern. Rumors floated that some remote employees weren't really working, logging in, setting Slack to green, then disappearing. At an executive Zoom meeting, HR Director Miss Collins made her pitch. Remote work is full of abuse. We need visibility. Cameras on. 8 hours. Every day. The COO hesitated. That sounds extreme. But Collins pushed harder. If people have nothing to hide, they won't mind. It's accountability. The CEO, under pressure to look in control, nodded. Fine, implement it. Effective next Monday. And just like that, the policy was born. The rollout. The announcement hit inboxes Friday evening. Subject line. New Remote Productivity Initiative. The key points? Webcams on during all working hours. Employees must remain visible at all times. Random HR screenshots will verify compliance. Violations equals written warning. The email ended with a cheerful tagline, because trust is good, but proof is better. The Slack channels exploded. Bridget, 8 hours of my face? Even my mom doesn't want that. So they want a hostage video. Maya, what if I sneeze too long? Violation? And then Ethan typed the words that sealed the company's fate. Yes, boss. Exactly. Weekend prep. While most employees grumbled, Ethan planned. He dug through forums, tested virtual webcam tools, and brainstormed with friends. By Sunday night, he had a setup ready. Webcam, it ginger cat, sleeping like royalty. Webcam number 2, a perfect loop of himself nodding, sipping coffee. A script to swap feeds at will. He smiled. If they want proof, they'll get proof, just not the kind they expect. The first Monday. At 9 a.m., the grid lit up. Dozens of faces stared blankly. HR interns monitored the feeds like prison guards. But almost immediately, cracks appeared. One screen froze in perpetual nod. Another showed suspiciously perfect typing. Ethan's cat yawned, stretched, and licked its paw. The HR intern flagged it. Miss Collins leaned in. That's a cat. Ethan unmuted. Calm, polite. The rule says 8 hours of camera time. Didn't say it had to be my face. The Slack reaction channel blew up. Collins fumed, but she couldn't argue. The policy had no clause for pets. The stage was set. Chapter 3. The Escalation. The cat goes viral. By Tuesday, Ethan's cat was famous. Every time the ginger tabby appeared on his webcam, coworkers muted their mics to laugh. Someone clipped a screenshot of the cat licking its paw during a strategy meeting and turned it into a meme. Quarterly performance review. It spread like wildfire through Slack. Even clients saw it on LinkedIn, reshared by a friend of a friend. HR was livid. Collins sent an email titled, "Webcams equals human faces only." Ethan replied politely, "Understood. We'll comply exactly." The loops began. The next morning, Owen joined the compliance game. His webcam showed him sipping coffee on repeat. Perfectly timed, perfectly looped. Bridget uploaded a looping GIF of herself nodding thoughtfully, chin in hand. To HR, it looked like attentiveness. In reality, she was baking sourdough in her kitchen. Soon, half the team had turned into glitching mannequins, nodding, smiling, typing in endless cycles. In Slack, the number compliance channel became a gallery of experiments. Maya tested a looping wave. Owen added a dog cameo. Someone submitted a request to replace their feed with a cartoon avatar, approved, by mistake. HR in meltdown. By Thursday, the HR monitoring team was drowning. Screens froze, feeds repeated, animals replaced humans. They couldn't tell who was real and who wasn't. One intern whispered during a call, "It feels like the Matrix, but everyone's cats." Collins exploded in frustration. "This is malicious. You're mocking the system." Ethan leaned forward, calm, voice steady. "We're following the rules. Webcams on, all day, no exceptions." The Zoom chat lit up with reactions. A.D. Clients catch on. The breaking point came Friday. During a joint client call, a senior banker asked a technical question. On the screen, 3 employees nodded in perfect sync, on loop. The client frowned. "Are your people real?" Dead silence. Then Ethan's cat yawned, full screen. The banker burst out laughing. "I see. At least someone's enjoying remote work." The call ended in embarrassment. HR had no defense left. Ethan's quiet triumph. That night, Ethan sat back with his coffee, scrolling through Slack memes. The top post was his cat, photoshopped into a suit, with the caption, "Employee of the Month." He smirked. The policy hadn't just failed, it had become a joke the entire internet was laughing at, and all he had done was obey. Chapter 4. The Breaking Point. The mandatory town hall. Monday morning began with dread. A calendar invite landed in every inbox. Mandatory all-hands meeting. Attendance required. Cameras on. The invite came straight from the CEO. No excuses. At 9 a.m., the Zoom call lit up with hundreds of faces, or at least what looked like faces. Rows of video tiles flickered, some human, some looping animations, 1 or 2, suspiciously feline. The CEO cleared his throat, stone-faced. "Enough games. Productivity is crashing. Clients are furious. From now on, this policy will be enforced with stricter monitoring." The perfect compliance. But employees had anticipated this. They went into overdrive. Bridget looped a video of herself taking notes diligently. Owen built a deepfake that nodded with terrifying realism. Maya uploaded a green screen feed of herself in front of stock office footage. Ethan? He upped the ante. His cat now wore a tiny tie, sitting in front of his laptop. The CEO's voice echoed with growing frustration as he scrolled through tiles of near-identical nodding heads. "Are you even listening?" Dozens of looping Ethans nodded in perfect sync. The chat blew up with laughing emojis, hidden behind professional avatars. The collapse of control. Then came the breaking point. The CEO asked for live responses. Type in chat, yes, if you're paying attention. Within seconds, the chat filled. Yes, 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 hundreds of them. But they arrived too perfectly, every 3 seconds. Like clockwork, it was obvious. The employees had scripted bots to auto-reply. The CEO's face turned red. Collins jumped in, voice shrill. "This is insubordination. You're destroying the system." Ethan calmly unmuted, cat in his lap, coffee in hand. "No, ma'am, we're following the system. Cameras on, responses given, compliance absolute." Silence. The CEO buried his face in his hands. The policy had become a parody exposed in front of the entire company. The aftermath of the call. By the end of the meeting, the CEO had only one option. He ended the call abruptly with a terse message. Policy under review. Further communication to follow. Slack exploded seconds later. Memes, GIFs, screenshots of the cat in a tie flooded every channel. The phrase "compliance absolute" became the new rallying cry. Ethan's quiet smile. As the chaos raged online, Ethan muted notifications, leaned back, and smirked. He didn't have to shout. He didn't have to rebel. He just obeyed. And obedience had torn the policy apart. Chapter 5. The CEO's Dilemma. The Aftershock. The morning after the disastrous all hands, silence gripped the company. Slack, usually buzzing with memes and chatter, was strangely quiet. Everyone was waiting to see what leadership would do. At 10 a.m., an urgent invite appeared. Executive Crisis Meeting, strictly confidential. Inside the Zoom room, only 5 tiles appeared. The CEO, CFO, Colorado O, HR Director Collins, and Ethan invited as the voice of the employees. Collins' last stand. Collins began immediately, voice sharp and offensive. "This is sabotage. Employees are openly mocking management. If we don't enforce discipline, we lose all control." She waved a folder filled with screenshots, looping videos, cartoon avatars, Ethan's cat in a tie. "This is not compliance, it's rebellion in disguise." The CEO leaned back, fingers steepled. "Or maybe it's exactly what it looks like, compliance exposing a broken rule." Colin's face flushed. "We cannot let employees run the company." Ethan speaks. For the first time, Ethan unmuted. Calm, measured, no anger in his voice. "We didn't break the rule, we followed it. Cameras on, all day. If the result looks absurd, maybe the rule itself is absurd." The executives were silent. The logic was unshakable. Even the CFO, usually numbers only, nodded. "Productivity has dropped 40% since we started this policy. Clients are laughing at us. This isn't sustainable." The turning point. The CEO sighed heavily. His face looked older, wearier. "Collins, you wanted proof. Well, the proof is here. The employees aren't the problem. The policy is." Collins tried to interject, but he cut her off. "Enough. Effective immediately, the webcam mandate is suspended." Ethan stayed silent, sipping his coffee. The aftermath. That afternoon, a new email hit every inbox. Subject: Policy update. Moving forward. Effective immediately, webcam monitoring requirements are lifted. Remote work will be based on trust and results, not surveillance. Thank you for your patience. Slack erupted within seconds. Fireworks, GIFs, cat memes, and the phrase "compliance absolute" trended across every channel. And in the middle of it all, Ethan simply typed, "Yes, boss. Exactly." Chapter 5. The CEO's Dilemma. The Aftershock. The morning after the disastrous all hands, silence gripped the company. Slack, usually buzzing with memes and chatter, was strangely quiet. Everyone was waiting to see what leadership would do. At 10 a.m., an urgent invite appeared. Executive Crisis Meeting, strictly confidential. Inside the Zoom room, only 5 tiles appeared. The CEO, CFO, Colorado O, HR Director Collins, and Ethan invited as the voice of the employees. Collins' last stand. Collins began immediately, voice sharp and offensive. "This is sabotage. Employees are openly mocking management. If we don't enforce discipline, we lose all control." She waved a folder filled with screenshots, looping videos, cartoon avatars, Ethan's cat in a tie. "This is not compliance, it's rebellion in disguise." The CEO leaned back, fingers steepled. "Or maybe it's exactly what it looks like, compliance exposing a broken rule." Colin's face flushed. "We cannot let employees run the company." Ethan speaks. For the first time, Ethan unmuted. Calm, measured, no anger in his voice. "We didn't break the rule, we followed it. Cameras on, all day. If the result looks absurd, maybe the rule itself is absurd." The executives were silent. The logic was unshakable. Even the CFO, usually numbers only, nodded. "Productivity has dropped 40% since we started this policy. Clients are laughing at us. This isn't sustainable." The turning point. The CEO sighed heavily. His face looked older, wearier. "Collins, you wanted proof. Well, the proof is here. The employees aren't the problem. The policy is." Collins tried to interject, but he cut her off. "Enough. Effective immediately, the webcam mandate is suspended." Ethan stayed silent, sipping his coffee. The aftermath. That afternoon, a new email hit every inbox. Subject: Policy update. Moving forward. Effective immediately, webcam monitoring requirements are lifted. Remote work will be based on trust and results, not surveillance. Thank you for your patience. Slack erupted within seconds. Fireworks, GIFs, cat memes, and the phrase "compliance absolute" trended across every channel. And in the middle of it all, Ethan simply typed, "Yes, boss, exactly." Chapter 6: The Fall of Collins, ending. The official memo. By Friday morning, the inevitable arrived. An email pinged into every inbox. Subject: HR Leadership Update. Effective immediately, Ms. Collins will be transitioning out of her role as HR Director. We thank her for her service and wish her success in future endeavors. No one said a word out loud, but Slack exploded instantly. Employees posted memes of falling dominoes, collapsing Jenga towers, and of course, Ethan's cat in a tie, now crowned with a golden laurel wreath. The phrase "transitioning out" became the new office joke. The new atmosphere. Within hours, the office felt different. No more constant surveillance, no more absurd webcam mandates. People were laughing again, not at management, but with each other. Productivity rebounded as employees actually focused on work instead of engineering creative compliance hacks. Even clients noticed the shift. One banker wrote, "Glad to see you've returned to sanity, and give that cat a raise." Ethan's final word. Later that day, Ethan sat at his desk, cat curled in his lap, coffee in hand. Maya messaged him privately. "Maya, you did it. You actually toppled HR." Ethan, "I didn't topple anyone. The policy did. I just followed it too well." He smirked, typed one last Slack status update. "Malicious compliance. It doesn't destroy rules. It reveals them." Hundreds of employees reacted instantly. The quiet victory. That evening, Ethan closed his laptop. For once, the smirk softened into a real smile. He didn't need credit. He didn't need applause. The victory was in the silence. No cameras, no watchers, just trust. And somewhere in the background, his cat stretched, yawned, and looked every bit like the true employee of the month.